So, before we continue, I feel like there might be something I need to point out um, to kind of help explain what I was looking for in one of the previous starting zones and why it's not here. So, back in the day, like back in the days, even going back to as recently as, say, Warlords, you used to get like a message or something having to do with your trainer, which would say, go talk to your trainer. So then I would have to come over here and be like, hello, trainer. And he'd be like, oh, hello there. Is that my letter with my writing? Oh, so you're the new warlock I heard about. Oh, it's nice to meet you. And you could read the letter and such. Because trainers have basically become entirely pointless at this, at this point in the game, they basically just took that out of the game. So I was looking for that in one of the previous starting zones, and now I realize, yeah, you can't really do that anymore. So
I need to target something first.
look at all the bodies. Now, here's a notable difference of what's going on with the Forsaken here in Cataclysm compared to what it was like in Vanilla. In Vanilla, I mean, it was a different mentality because you had basically tons of people that were part of the Forsaken who were from the original Lordaeron area and such from Warcraft 3, and that was basically the carryover because they used to be part of the Scourge, and then they were freed and became part of the Forsaken and were motivated to defeat the Lich King. Here in Cataclysm, it's a different mentality because, well, now these bodies are basically new resources for the Forsaken. Because of the way they're approaching basically using the Valkyr to res everything in sight for, various different purposes and reasons for Sylvanas and such.
Ah, great work, Serana. I knew that you weren't useless. Here, take one of these. We Death Gods have piles of these things just sitting around.
That's kind of terrifying.
Trust no
The implication of that, when you think about it. Just drop them.
Yeah, just dump them there.
So what's funny is that we're going to have a number of things here about the Scarlet Crusade, though we really shouldn't. See, the thing is, in Wrath, when we were in Northrend, we basically annihilated all that was left of what we had to deal with the Scarlet Crusade. Or rather, as they became known in Wrath, the Scarlet Onslaught. Like, we went and found them in Northrend and just absolutely wrecked them to the point where they would basically cease to be an actual force or organization. Now, in Vanilla, the Vanilla version of this area, and you can even see this in Classic, this was when the Crusade was still kind of relevant. And so, as you probably know, the Scarlet Monastery is right over here in Tirisfal. So it made sense that there was a pretty decent presence of the Scarlet Crusade here in Tirisfal back in the days of Vanilla. But really, when you think about it, considering how much of their forces we absolutely destroyed in Northrend back in Wrath, there really shouldn't be that much. Because we've already dealt with, the big leadership in the forces and such from Vanilla, because the events of the Scarlet Monastery dungeon, where we actually take out Sally Whitemane, that took place in Vanilla. So it just seems a little out of place when you think about it, but they kind of like left it here to try and keep it in here, I guess. So, anyways.
You're growing in strength, Serana. I've seen your type before. You will be moving out of Death Knell and onto greater things before long. Just make sure that you don't lose sight of where you started. You have much to accomplish, Warlock. Why don't you go speak with my novice, Elrith? She serves me and will have some tasks to which you can apply your new abilities.
victory for some.
So now I have my imp.
Serve me.
What is it?
May the Dark Lady watch over you, Serana. Earlier on, I saw a young Forsaken woman running towards the old inn. She was screaming for her life, pleading to be taken back home. Not all of us are as resolute as others, Serana. Even so, we must accept our fate as undead if we are to rise up against those that would put us down. Take my hand mirror and show it to the young woman. She needs to see what she really is, and join us in our cause. Besides, we can use all the bodies that we can get.
So yeah, we're still going after Lillian Voss.
Embrace the shadow.
Don't know why a 65 Zandalari Troll Rogue is here, but whatever. So here's the old inn. There's supposed to be a little thing that happens here. I kind of want to show you guys, but... Ah! Okay, I missed part of it. The timing of this is going to be off because, well, other players. I'm hoping it'll just kind of repeat itself, so I can show you the entirety of it.
What do you require?
Here we go. I require you to give me some currency for
Watch
the...
your back.
So I think she's up here. Yeah, there she is. Poor Lillian. This is how Lillian starts off. And I say that in case you know where she is these days.
What is it you ask?
Get away from me, you monster! Don't look at me! I'm hideous!
You're not hideous, Lillian. You're one of us. Here, look in this mirror. See for yourself.
Do not linger.
You don't understand. I can't be undead. Not me. Not now. Lillian.
My blade stays sharp.
Okay, so she just kind of goes back and forth here for players. See, I missed the first part of this conversation where he walks up to her. I'm really hoping that's going to change. By the way, notice her name. This is the monk trainer, because of course you can make an undead monk, as I said. Her name is Ting. Strong of stomach. Because she's a Pandaren, of course she's strong of stomach. Come on. Come on.
Patience. Patience.
Strange taste when it comes to brew. I get the feeling that they're not exactly preparing it for friends.
Goodbye.
I mean, this is the place where the apothecary is, so yeah. Define brew. I don't think it's going to trigger, so he's supposed to be like, excuse me, could you please try this? And she's like, sure. And she drinks, she's like, wow, it's, interesting. Oh, yes. I'm sorry that it wasn't to your liking. And then he walks up and says to himself, she should be a pile of bones and slime. Strong of stomach indeed. So yeah, he wanted to test a potion that could have killed her on her. So I should clarify something that I actually cut myself off from saying before in the first part of this, in the previous video, part 1. What I was trying to say is, as I've said before, I hate Sylvanas and I hate Nathanos, And I hate the apothecary. But I don't dislike the ordinary, innocent civilians in this area and of Undercity. Because they're just people. They're just people who have this new existence and have actually chosen to actually live out this new existence. To give it a chance. To see what they can make of it. They're just people. And those are the people I sympathize with amongst the Forsaken. I have no sympathy for the apothecary, because as we have seen time and time again, the apothecary is horrible, disgusting, and just evil. There have been quests going back from vanilla all the way to this point, including in Burning Crusade and Wrath, where the apothecary continued to test out and do terrible, terrible things. Including working on the Blight, which is also what we saw worked on and used at the Wrathgate. And they are just continuing to function, even after the Battle of the Undercity in Wrath, which doesn't make any sense. The apothecary should be disbanded and not be used. But no. Apparently Garrosh doesn't care to just be like,
Alright, Sylvanas, I find you horrible, and I want your apothecary disbanded.
Nope. He doesn't bother, because he's an idiot. He's Garrosh.
I'm listening.
And if you're probably thinking, well, Sylvanas wasn't behind the Wrathgate, so why wouldn't she do that? That's what we thought. But as I mentioned, one of the head writers, who is like always at the panels, I forget his name. Steve something, I think? He is one of the head writers for Warcraft, and he has personally said that he has been personally writing Sylvanas and her character arc, or rather her story, because you can't really say she's had a character arc from Cataclysm onward. Basically, since then, for a long time. And he actually admitted in an interview that Sylvanas actually was responsible for the Wrathgate. So if you're wondering why I said that, it's because he himself said that. You can actually look it up. So, yeah.
You say she ran away? What a shame. Oh, very well. As long as she has maintained her free will, there is still hope. I can keep you busy here in town all week, but you seem to be more the fighting type. Yes, you'll do just fine. I'd like you to go talk to Executor Aren. Follow the path north out of Death Knell. You'll find him not far past the barricades.
Trust no one.
Go ahead and get my chauffeur ready here. Okay. I don't recall what this town would have been called before this. So if you're looking, obviously we know that Undercity is what used to be Lordaeron. So if you were to try and figure out where on this map certain places would have been back in Warcraft 3 during the days of Lordaeron compared to how they are now, you can probably imagine some of the names of this place have probably been changed. Obviously this place would not have been called Death Knell back in Warcraft 3. So
I am forsaken.
What do we have here? A new warlock ready for battle, eh? First of all, look at your armor. You are a mess, warlock. If you'd like to stay in one piece, and I've no doubt that you do, perhaps I can help. If you can gather some paws and wings from the wolves and bats nearby, maybe I'll find some armor for you. You'll find the creatures to the north and to the west of here.
You're just giving me bracers, pal. And you're talking this big thing about my armor and how terrible it looks. And you're just going to give me bracers.
Farewell.
Don't be talking it up and then just give me, minuscule stuff in return. Fight for me, imp. I might just stay as Affliction. like through the rest of the, you know, the time that we're on our Forsaken here. Dot classes are pretty good for this. And of course, Affliction is all about the dots. We'll talk, you know, I'll talk a bit more about this when we get to level 10. And unlock the specializations.
It's too far away.
It's too far away.
I need to get closer.
Oop, oh, 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 oh. Nope. I did not mean to do that. Ugh, whatever. Yes, that's little Kel'Thuzad. Yeah, I forgot to disable those guys. My bad. I don't really want to... I can see that those two are playing together, and I don't want to interfere.
What now?
Thank you. This armor should help you out. Hopefully it should do you more good than the last one to wear it. Sorry. One of our greatest struggles is obtaining the natural resources that we need to survive. Gold was scarce in Lordaeron, even in the height of the Alliance's power so many years ago. There is a gold mine to the west that has been overrun with spiders. We need gold from the mine, but we can't very well get it while the spiders are crawling around in there. I've not much manpower to commit to the task, so we'll just have to do it little by little. Get up there and see what you can do for us.
Can't you send someone else on this?
Enemies abound.
If you know anything about me, you know I'm not too fond of spiders. Just saying. There are plenty of other Forsaken that you could send in there. Why does it have to be me?
I'm out of range.
This does make me glad that I actually changed my Forsaken from being a rogue into a warlock. Let's just say I do better with quests that involve fighting giant spiders when I'm a range class, as opposed to a melee like a rogue. Because then you gotta get up close and... ugh. Of course, right now we're just fighting these little ones out here. Just wait till we get inside and fight the big ones. It's a good thing they're all yellow. Remember, this is still technically the tutorial zone, so of course all these things are going to be yellow instead of red. That may change in here, though. I don't remember. Nope. They're still yellow.
I need to get closer.
Do I have to? Okay. Ah! Back up the camera. So, of course, they look like giant black widows. Because, of course, they do.
Have a target.
Because Blizzard just loves to torment people with arachnophobia. Oh, who am I kidding? It's not just Blizzard. Like, every video game company loves to do that. Like, seriously. Show me a game with this type of genre and setting that does not have giant spiders. Like, try and come up with one. Ah! Stupid camera. Ugh.
Need a target.
Ah! Ugh. When I found out there was a mod for Skyrim to change all the spiders to bears, I was elated. I was like, yes! I'm getting that mod! Any mod for any game that can switch out spiders for anything is like, yes, thank goodness. I feel like I just kind of opened up a window for pet battles.
What is it?
Well, it is a start. It'll take a few weeks or months to fully clean out the infestation. After that, we'll have to get down there with some torches to burn away the webbing. You've done your duty well, Serana. While you were inside that cave, your big friend Darnell came by with some alarming news. Since the Valkyrie arrived, we've seen more and more undead that chose not to join our forces under the banner of the Dark Lady. They've been gathering at a small camp here in the valley, and now they have organized forces. They plan to attack Death Knell, Warlock. Darnell is just down the road to the east. Be careful, Serana. While those undead aren't completely brainless, they are still not quite right in the head.
Our time.
So, you're probably going, really? Forsaken that just kind of organized to fight us? You're about to see a familiar face we just saw not too long ago that kind of said he was going to do this.
What would you ask of death?
By the way, this is another difference I do know about from the classic version, because this area used to be filled with more Scarlet Crusade. But as I said, there's not really that many of the actual Scarlet Crusade forces around anymore, so it's a little different.
Ah, Serana, you made it. You see those tents up there? That's where we're headed. The battle has probably already started.
Yeah, I'll just take that to sell it. Ooh, water. Perfect for a warlock. Gotta get that mana right. That on.
While you were taking care of matters for Executor Aaron, I went off on an assignment on my own. Shadow Priest Sarvis asked me to peek in on the Rotbrain camp. There's a reason why they're called Rotbrains. Their leader goes by the name of Marshal Redpath. We just saw him like a few minutes ago. And he's an absolute beast. Look, Serana, the attack is starting. You're better in combat than I am, so get in there and help out. When you're done, meet up with Shadow Priest Sarvis in the chapel. Good luck.
Watch your back.
So now it's time to take care of Redpath, who... well, yeah. So for those who don't remember who Redpath is, he actually used to be a quest giver on the Alliance side. And now he's here as an undead. Lot of rot brains. I mean, he did say he was gonna try and go start up his own force of the Forsaken with blackjack and hookers. I'm kidding. And there he is up there. I'm a monster! Don't look at me!
I don't have a target.
Nom 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 nom. What? I wasn't sure if I had properly shown that ability off yet. I wanted to go ahead and do so. So that's the end of Marshal Redpath. And him trying to start up his own faction of the Forsaken. But, yeah. The sheer amount for him to be able to, yeah. All this is little bits of storytelling about what's going on with the Forsaken and the mentality with the Valkyrie and Sylvanas when it comes to, let's just keep getting more and more and more. Because, well.
Being born again under the power of a Valkyr is a strenuous process. Many don't survive the shock, turning into zombies or ghouls. Others retain just enough humanity to seem normal on the outside, but they're sick on the inside. We should have slain those fraught brains the day that they were raised. As for you, you're a strong warlock, Serana. I knew you would do well. You'll be headed out of Deathnell soon. Sarvis produces a piece of paper from within his robes. These will need to be taken to my field agent, Death Guard Simmer. This information contains the whereabouts of the last few holdouts from the Scarlet Crusade. We will destroy these Crusaders once and for all, and I have a feeling that you'll be instrumental in that effort, Serana. Take the road north out of Deathnell. Soon after entering Tirisfal proper, you'll see a large man's. Simmer's inside.
Trust no one.
Well, I won't hold you up. It's been a pleasure, Serana. I hope our paths cross again soon. Thanks, Darnell. You know, it's funny, every time we think, okay, this has definitely got to be, like, it for the forces of the Scarlet Crusade, because he's like, oh, we'll finish them off once and for all. Funny thing is, we still have to deal with, like, what we think are the last remnants of them, even when we get to Legion. Like, both the priest and the Death Knight deal with, like, some of the last remaining remnants of the Scarlet Crusade. As a priest, you actually get, you know, have someone who wants to leave the Scarlet Crusade and join the Priest Order Hall while still wearing their outfit to join you. Also, the Death Knight goes to the monastery, going through some of the some forces there, because we want to raise Sally Whitemane as one of the new 4 horsemen, which we do. So basically, after Legion, at this point, I'd be very surprised if we see any more remaining forces of the Scarlet Crusade, because at this point, we should not. By the way, there used to be like a little area there where there was another quest giver, but as I said, they've changed some things here. Also, there's a captured Scarlet Zealot here. Take note of that. Just keep him in the back of your mind. Also, Gordo.
What we do?
What we do? Get my inventory space here. Oops. Disperse information as you deem necessary. Tirisfal Regional Command, Captain Melrash, Captain Vashon, and Captain Perrine. Directives by the order of the High Lord. Captain Perrine, further fortify your position at the southwest tower as designated. Additional supplies will be dispatched at a later date. In the meantime, materials should be obtainable from the surrounding farms. Also, further reconnaissance and information should be gathered about the organization of the Undead in Brill. Captain Vashon, there appears to be an increased movement by the Undead near the northern tower. This insurgents must be quickly and decisively dealt with. Captain Melrash, there are concerns about the level of organization of the Undead near the borders of the Plaguelands. A fresh group of men will be dispatched to your position in the coming weeks. Glory under the light. Just as a reminder, the Scarlet Crusade is a very clear example of the light doesn't serve only people who are good. The light is not a conscious thing that chooses to willingly serve certain people who are only good people. The light is a resource that can be used for evil and also can be used by undead. I point this out for 2 examples. That latter part. We have a paladin who was a horseman in Noxramas. He was an undead horseman who was also a paladin. That is canon. That is proof that you can use the light as undead. Also, we can make priests as Forsaken. And I feel like I don't have to elaborate on that anymore. Because, well, if you can play as a holy priest, or even a disciplined priest as an undead, that should be all the example you need of undead being able to wield the power of the light. The other part that I mentioned, the Scarlet Crusade is one of the more evil factions in this setting, and they wield and use the light for evil purposes. I point this out because some people think the light can only be wielded by people who are good and righteous, and, you know, people like Uther the Lightbringer, because Uther was amazing and a good person, and he was. But he's just one example. And if you can see someone amongst the Scarlet Crusade wielding the light, that should be all the proof you need that you don't have to be a good person to be able to wield the light. Anyways.
Speak quickly.
Yes, what do you want? Yes, this is very good. You've done well in obtaining this information, Serana. Names of the Scarlet Crusade, officers in the Tirisfal Glades. Imagine the blow that we could deal to the morale of those bloody zealots if we were to kill their leaders in one swift strike. I will pass this information forward. Humans are notoriously fickle creatures. The farmers to the west are no exception. Sure, they may be plowing their fields peacefully now, but tomorrow they may be raising their scythes against us. The alliance looms close by in Gilneas, and the power of Stormwind looms to the south. Any of these could recruit these tillers and use them as a wedge against us. You shouldn't also forget about Ironforge. And Ironforge is actually closer than Stormwind is. And I would be a little bit more concerned about Ironforge than Stormwind, especially considering the ties between the dwarves in Ironforge and the Wildhammer dwarves, who are even closer. I want them dead. See to it that it's done.
Embrace the shadow.
Yeah.
Hello.
I should have also included that some of the military forces are not exactly what I would include amongst those innocent civilians. These guys, I mean, they serve Sylvanas and Garrosh to do their ridiculous whims, and work alongside someone like this, who's part of the Royal Apothecary.
What have we here? You look like a fledgling warlock. If you hope to prove yourself to the Dark Lady, you need to learn the ways of the Forsaken. To the west you will find a farm. Humans infest the land like mold on a rotting corpse. Humans are a virus. Oh, sorry. Went a little Agent Smith there for a second. And worse yet, the Scarlet Crusade patrols nearby from their tower. Teach those scum a lesson and steal 10 of their precious pumpkins. Once you have 10, bring them back to me.
Dark Lady, watch over you.
Why do I need those pumpkins? Oh, no reason. Just do so quickly.
Hello.
You work hard your whole life, and what do you get? Killed by a plague. And then you work even harder in Undeath, and what do you get? Money, yes, and a small state with a few pesky hangers-on, but happiness? Not so much. I'm lonely in my old age. Serana, and I need a companion. Use this leash on one of the murlocs at the Whispering Shore to the northwest. You'll have to weaken it first, but before it can be leashed, and then bring it back to me. He just wants a pet. He just wants a little companion, just to keep him company. Oh, how sad. But yeah, just wait till you see, and this is one of the reasons why I talk about how horrible the apothecary is. Just wait till you see what he does with these pumpkins that we're about to get. As long as I think this is the correct quest that I think it is. Also, we're just taking out these farmers. Because these aren't part of the Scarlet Crusade, these are just farmers. And the Death Guard's like, yes, take them out. I did mention the, for those of you who perhaps haven't seen it or are not aware, there's a speech that happens in the first Matrix movie by Agent Smith about how it goes, I'll probably paraphrase it. It's something along the lines of like, humans are a virus eating and consuming every resource and everything in their path. It's something along those lines. So that's kind of what he reminded me just now when he was talking about how, like, humans in this area are like a plague.
I'm out
on
of
the
range.
And I was just like, wow. And unfortunately, that is how some of the members, the higher members of the Forsaken military and such, see humans. So, you know, they will look at this farmer, and all they're going to see is, oh, a possible corpse to be able to reanimate into one of us, to be able to use as more resources or more tools. Because that's part of the mentality that they have right now. It's a very messed up mentality and way of thinking. Okay, this could be an issue. I'll back off. I'll back off that as well. My tendency is to be the guy who backs off and lets another player get it, as you know, if I notice them in time. Because I can tell these guys are on the same quest I am. And if there's also another area where these are, I'll go over here and be like, okay, you guys can be in that area, I'll go over here. It's like, I just need one more farmer, and then you guys can just do the other ones on your own. I will just simply get these last few pumpkins, and then I will be out of your way. Okay. Alright, this way. And of course, who wouldn't want a little pet Murloc? I mean, it's not like we don't have those, right? Legionnaire Murky. I'm pretty sure that's not the only one. Murgle. Mercablo. Sadly, I do not have this. Promotion from BlizzCon 2011. More than likely was part of the Diablo 3 promotion. Sadly, I was not really, playing at that time. Merkalot. That's a skin in Heroes of the Storm. BlizzCon 2013. This is the one that really, that I don't have. BlizzCon 2015, Mercadin. A Murky that looks like Illidan with a Warglaive of Aznaroth. I cannot tell you how much I wish I had this pen. And then Little Murky. BlizzCon 2005. Murloc Balloon. Dark Moon Island. Turkey. A White Murloc Egg. Yeah, there's quite a few, Nazjatar. There's quite a few little pets and such that I haven't gotten, for one reason or another. Granted, I haven't done that much when it comes to actually doing stuff involving the battle pets, but still, I wouldn't mind. See, that one is actually neat. A Vilefin, okay. Okay, I'm going to dismiss my imp because I don't want him to actually kill that thing before I can actually leash him. Come on. There we go. I got him. Right, come on. Follow me. Yeah, he's still following. I'm surprised he doesn't go faster, because there have been other quests in this game where you have someone like following you and they are able to Wait, did I go too fast? I think I did. Okay, this is... Yeah, I'm actually remembering that this is a problem with this quest. You have to... I have to go all the way back on foot. I can't use this. It's too fast, because then the leash breaks, and I'm not able to actually take him back. Go. Alright, come on, follow me. Yeah, if I go too far, he basically despawns, and then I have to recapture one, so. Alright. Well, I'll use this as a waypoint to make sure I'm heading the right direction. But another quest later on, they actually kind of, I guess, fix this by having them run as fast. Like, I could get on a flying mount, fly to the turn-in person, and they're just, zoom, just running at super fast speed to keep up with me. So the fact that that's not working for this quest is kind of like a huh? But I guess they never updated this for some reason. Yeah, you saw right there, that's the comparison between the running animation for the male undead and this running animation for the female undead, which I just think looks better. It looks like she's actually running as opposed to just kind of hobbling around, like to one side, like a hunchback. It's just something, you know, that I'm not really that fond of. Alright, let me go ahead and do this one first. Like I just waved him like, hi.
Oh, look at him. Isn't he the most adorable thing you've ever seen? Thank you, Saran. I feel more energetic already.
Victory for Sylvanas.
Can you tell the buff is still going on? I've already gotten from level 3 to level 9 in this one video.
This had better be good.
You've the makings of a mighty warlock, Undead. I heard the cries of those humans from all the way over here. Perhaps soon we will be rid of this human blight.
You are part of the problem why the Forsaken have such a negative reputation. Members like you.
We need someone with initiative, like yourself, to drive the Scarlet Crusade to the grave. Prove to me that you are capable of serving the Dark Lady by traveling west to the tower, past the Solidin farmstead, and slaying 10 warriors of the Scarlet Crusade.
Okay, that I'm fine with. You want me to go kill Scarlet Crusade? Sure, gladly. They deserve it.
This had better be good.
Were you able to gather 10 pumpkins yet? Ah, you've performed your bidding well. Young Warlock, you are proving yourself to be quite an asset to the Dark Lady's army. These pumpkins have a purpose, Warlock. They'll be the delivery mechanism for my latest batch of plague, which should be a particularly painful and virulent concoction. However, the plague requires a few more ingredients.
Remember in Wrath when we actually helped them make the blight that they used at the Wrathgate?
Yeah. We'll need marrow petals, which grow at the bottom of Stillwater Pond, just to the east of here. We'll also need Zavran's thorn, which grows on rocky cliffs to the northwest. Finally, we need some briny sea cucumbers, found in the surf off of Whispering Shore.
Our time.
So yeah, we're not at the quite there yet. But these are kind of working towards something particular I was referring to. You'll see once we're done collecting what he wants us to collect. Because then he's going to ask us to do something. To test it. And you probably understand what that means. But before we do that, let's go kill some members of the Scarlet Crusade. Lost of Lordaeron. Yeah, that's an actual thing. And that's a pet. But the fact that it's just kind of wandering around this area should be kind of telling. Oh. Here are some of the thorn right here. Come on. There we go. this what it's like when you play a character as a herbalist? You're just going around, just constantly collecting feathers. I've wanted to actually try and work on and learn to do the stuff involving professions, but I just never. It was a number of things where it was like I didn't really have the motivation to do so, or to see how to be able to do it, how long to actually level up and all that. Ooh, a scarlet letter. Lieutenant Gebler, how curious that you would decide to take a prisoner, an undead one at that. What were you thinking? Do you think that just because of the prisoner's former status that she would be above the edicts of the Scarlet Crusade? She. Take note of that. This is most troubling, Gebler. I would remind you that there are penalties for such behavior. I command you to execute the prisoner at once. She is no longer one of us. The Scarlet Crusade, ladies and gentlemen. But then again, there's also, it's also part of that bias that is usually pretty relevant in the game, especially amongst members of... how do I say this? I mean, I've talked about it and criticized it before. It is relevant amongst the Scarlet Crusade that they just think anything that is undead is something that should be immediately destroyed, that's an unholy life form that, die, monster, you don't belong in this world, And that's partly because of what happened with the Scourge. When you had the stuff with the Lich King and the Scourge and Wrath, it's understandable. But over time, we have actually seen members of the Forsaken and such that there is more to them. That some of them, like Alonza's Fowl, for example, are themselves. Like, they are not just some zombie, they are the actual person who's there, It's part of the distinction of the different types of undead that are in the setting that people have pointed out, like how there is the undead that are like the golems that just kind of are these abominations that are just kind of put together. Like, there are ghosts, there are, the zombies and such. There are, undead like the Death Knights who have had their souls removed from them, so they are basically no longer who they were. And then there are the Death Knights and other members of Undead who do have their souls, so they are still themselves and who they were. But even when you can notice that difference and actually make that distinction, there's still this bias that even if you can tell that they are still that same person, they just happen to be now undead as opposed to living, they still think they are these horrible creatures and monsters, when we see that that's actually not the case, as I mentioned, Alonza's Fowl. And this is going to be, I'm bringing that up because it's going to be relevant here in just a moment in regards to what we're about to do. So I think I may have to hold off and wait because, well, other players. Because the thing is, it's going to involve a cutscene, and I don't want the cutscene to be spoiled by other players basically doing their own thing or doing it as well. So instead, let's go ahead and just wait and go over here to work on collecting these petals and cucumbers. Go. See cucumbers. Of course, I'm undead, so I don't have to worry about breathing underwater. It's one of the really nice gameplay benefits of actually playing a Forsaken, is you don't have to worry about breathing underwater. Which is funny, considering that Death Knights don't actually have that. And you would think, okay, if it's not a problem for the Forsaken, because they're supposed to be undead, so they don't have to breathe underwater, why is it a problem for Death Knights? Because Death Knights are also undead, just like the Forsaken are, and yet they still have that problem themselves. It just seems very odd and contradictory. Because when you think about it, Death Knights should not have that issue either. Yet they still do. Just saying. Yes, finish it off, my imp. Okay. So you have to go all the way over here to this lake in order to get the petals. By the way, you know what's great about having picked up that quest? Is that it allows you to be able to pick up one of the more important quests as part of the story in this area, because if you've been paying attention, you know, we've already had a couple quests involving Lillian Voss. Well, spoilers, I'm just going to give this away. The prisoner they're referring to is Lillian Voss. And we're going to find out who Lillian Voss used to be before she died and then was brought back as a Forsaken. And it's going to be pretty important and relevant. And it's also just going to serve a point to show, once again, just how horrible the Scarlet Crusade is. You know, if you were to give me the choice, who would you be more willing to join, the Scarlet Crusade or the Scourge? I would choose the Scourge every single time. And I am not the only one. There is a guy in the Death Knight starter zone, and I showed him to you, that had something horrible happen to his family because of the Scarlet Crusade. And he willingly joined the Scourge to be able to get his revenge against them. He you know, it was a very horrible, tragic story that happened to him. It was all because the Scarlet Crusade is absolutely terrible. So before we head on over there to go see Lillian, let's go turn these in.
I am Forsaken.
Most excellent warlock, your skill in the art of combat is undeniable.
Where the living? What is it?
Excellent work. And now comes the fun part. Harmless pumpkins, right? Or so it would seem. If we are to defeat the Scourge, advances from the north, and the human infestation from the south, we need to start realizing the full potential of our gift of undeath. With a little ingenuity, a simple pumpkin becomes an agent for our Dark Lady. This pumpkin, laced with my latest formula, will prove to be quite a treat. Yet another Scarlet Zealot has been captured and is being kept outside by the gazebo. Take this pumpkin to the fool.
Remember.
You remember that Zealot I pointed out to you earlier? I told you to remember him. And this is why. I find it funny that he's captured, yet there's no, like, bars or anything. Just this one little, you know, ball and chain right here that's keeping him in place, which I guess can be enough. But he's, like, not even trying. He's just, you know, staying there petrified and scared, which I guess makes sense when you have Gordo just staring at you. Stay away, foul and unholy creature! May the light protect me! The Scarlet Crusade shall rid Azeroth of your... Oh, wait. Is that food for me? Oh, I'm so hungry. Bon appetit. Oh, by the light, finally some food, sweet, sweet pumpkin. I don't feel right. My mind, my flesh, I'm rotting. I guess I didn't have to turn that in. Look. Scarlet Crusade is terrible, but that... No. Just no. I mean, if you want an example of what I'm talking about when I say the Apothecary is horrible, that's a... I feel like that's a pretty good example right there. What do you want to talk about, Gordo?
Gordo like picking flowers. Pick flowers kind of like killing. Master wants weeds, us got big hands, and not good at picking. You help us and we not hurt you. Us need gloomweed. Many weeds around here and near road. When you have gloomweed, you take to Master Holland and Bill.
So I believe Gordo used to actually wander the road back in Vanilla. Like, he, you know, you'll find him in Classic just kind of wandering the road. I remember when I went through here in Classic, like, we were trying to have to, like, you know, go, you know, throughout the road, you know, all the way down the road in this area to try and find him. Because we were like, where's Gordo? Where is he? So now here, he's just kind of there at the town. Alright, hopefully there aren't any players over there so I can show you the entirety of this cutscene. It's not an actual cutscene, but, you know, it's sort of one of those, like, cutscenes that you know where, like, dialogue and something happens that's scripted, so.
I need a target.
Oh, I just realized I got another, more players. Gosh, I just want to show the cutscene and I can't because players are constantly showing up. Gotta come down here and wait for it to be over. Alright, well, I guess while we're waiting... Oh, collect that appearance. I'll go ahead and talk about the differences between the specs, since we unlocked level 10. So Affliction, as you can see, it's a master of shadow magic who specializes in drains and damage over time spells. When you think of Affliction, what do you think? You think of dots. Corruption. And boy, does Corruption handle much better in this than it does in Classic. Because, you know, even guys, like, if you watch Preach's Legacy of the Warlock video, he talked about how you had to spend 5 points to be able to get rid of the cast time that Corruption had, because Corruption used to have a massive cast time. It was kind of ridiculous, so you had to put points in it in order for it to be instant cast. So I'm really glad they made that change here. So the next one is Agony that we just got here, Unstable Affliction, and of course Seed of Corruption that came around later on. This was not back in Classic, I believe. It doesn't have much in the way of summons. You know, like, you got the Summon Dark Layer, but it's not, you know, that great. And then, of course, Demo. This is the one I've always wished they would do more with. You know, the commander of demons who twists the souls of our army with devastating power. To me, it just doesn't feel like it's enough. Like, they never go full out with the concept and, you know, of... You just have an army of pets to be able to just kind of toss at your opponents and just, you know, like, it feels like they never go enough. They're always holding it back, and I really wish they would do more with it. And I'm hoping, from what I've been hearing about, with what they're going to do with the, you know, with Torghast and Shadowlands, that if you were to go through as a Demo Warlock, that you're going to get talents where it's like, you have an insane amount of pets to be able to use. Like, I would love to see that in action. I think that would be incredibly fun for, you know, someone with my playstyle. So, we would actually be able to get Summon Felguard level 12. Wow. So I believe we do not get our Voidwalker until level 20. So the fact that we can actually get a Felguard level 12 is actually pretty good. I may even switch to Demo right now knowing that. And then, of course, there's Destruction. On my max level Warlock, this is the spec I usually use, mainly because of AoE damage, because, well, in this game I like AoE damage, considering some of the massive amounts of enemies and mobs that we end up facing. So being able to do, like, Rain of Fire and other things like that is actually a pretty awesome ability. So let's go ahead and see, because right now all I have is my Imp. But if it tells me, hey, if you get to level 12, you can have a Felguard instead of an Imp, then sure, let's do it. So let's get Shadow Bolt there. So this is one of the other abilities here. This unfortunately doesn't really get all that great unless you build up your resource. And unfortunately, the resource for Demo at times just doesn't feel all that great, which is the Hand of Gul'dan, which is you drop a meteor full of wild imps, and then you have the imps just kind of constantly attack. And you can have like I think up to like 9 imps around you if you were able to do it right. So it feels at times like there's a lot of setup required, so for now, we'll just go ahead and do the Imp. So right now, it's just, Shadow Bolt and Hand of Gul'dan, so I'm surprised the trash, the Scarlet Crusade mobs and such haven't respawned. See, here's one of the problems with me trying to show this off to you guys, is the players that are constantly showing up to do this quest. Which, as I have been saying, the fact that I have to do that's actually an issue, shows that this game is not dead like some people say it is. So I'm curious, what do I have at this point for Destro? So for Destro, we have Shadow Bolt. We also have Conflagrate and Immolate. So it's a nice instacast boom of fire damage, generates fragments. And Immolate, which of course is another dot. So one of my big problems with certain specs, like Demo here, is the resource management. It feels like soul shards you're able to actually work at generating much better when on the other specs, like Destro and even Affliction, more so than Demo. It feels like Demo just you're not able to do that. Okay, there's no players around, let's do this. Hi, Lily.
I live my life in the
What are you doing here? Get out of here!
I'm here to rescue you.
First of all, I do not need to be rescued. Second of all, I'd never allow myself to be rescued by an abomination like you.
Lillian, you're one of the Forsaken like me. Which brings the question, why did the Scarlet Crusade put you in this cage? They usually kill the undead on sight.
I'm not undead. Not for long, anyway. My father will rescue me, I know it.
Your father?
There is much to be done.
Yes, Wait, be quiet. I hear the lieutenant approaching.
Pretend I'm hiding. The time has come, my little captive. Word has come back from your father.
Gebler, you came. What did he say?
High Priest Voss denounces you as a daughter, and he's ordered you to be executed immediately.
What? No, this can't be. Gebler, you know me. We were friends once.
The High Priest sends his regrets. He had hoped that one day you would be as a powerful weapon against our enemies. Unfortunately, you were too dangerous in life, and you were far too dangerous in undeath. I enjoy killing you. Scourge Witch. What? What is this thing? What the? Where did this thing come from? Okay, I have no idea where that thing came from, so. In life, and, okay. Let me try and show off the rest of this afterwards, just so you guys can actually see it. So I want you to pay attention to what Lillian does here. So I've already read a good amount of this. Unfortunately, you're too dangerous in life, and you're too dangerous in undeath. I will enjoy killing you, you scourged witch. Ah! Kepler, Father, why would you? The world of the living may have turned its back on me, but I'm no damn scourge. Just go. So there's a couple things to talk about in regards to that scene. First off, you remember what I was talking about earlier about the bias against undead? Even if you can see and tell that it's the same person that you knew in life, they're just undead now. But they don't care. That's what we just saw on display there. Her father, who is a priest, a high priest, did you catch that? He's a high priest amongst the Scarlet Crusade, denounces Lillian as his daughter simply because she is now an undead. It doesn't matter that she is still his daughter, that, you know, as in, like, the same person, that she still has her soul, it's still her. Like, if you were to talk to her, you could see it's still actually her. They don't care. All they see is an undead, and that's enough for them to say, destroy it, kill it. Now, as I said, unfortunately, this does not just stay exclusive with the Scarlet Crusade. This is actually throughout other members in the setting. Most especially the Alliance. And I mentioned Alonzus Fowler there. And that's because he is, at this point, undead. Now, for those of you who don't know, Alonzus Fowl was the original priest, like going back to Warcraft 1. Alonzus Fowl is the man who taught Uther, the Lightbringer, like, as his teacher. Alonzus Fowl is the man who was a mentor to Uther, the Lightbringer. So he is now an undead, and he's still the same person. And Uther wasn't the only one who knew Alonzus Fowl. Greymane, Gen Greymane, knew Alonzus Fowl as well when he was a human back in the day. Back then, in the days of Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 and such. He sees Alonzus Fowl as recently as Legion. And he can see that it's still Alonzus Fowl. But instead, he says something along the lines of, all I see is some undead monstrosity just, moving his mouth and having words come out. And it's that bias that is just very strong and relevant. Even if you can tell it's the same person, they're just different now. And it's a real sad thing to see on display, and you saw it right there with Lillian Voss. Simply because she's an undead now instead of a living person, but it's still her. She has been told that her father wants her to be killed. And then that leads to the other thing I want to talk about, that interesting power that we saw from Lillian. Now, this is something that we have actually seen going forward, which is one of the reasons why she is such a powerful and successful rogue in the setting as we go forward, and is part of the Rogue Order Hall in Legion, because she's a really, really good rogue. And is able to wield rune blades, by the way, as we see in places like Shulamance. Just to kind of further point this out, this is Lillian in Shulamance. Now, it doesn't show her weapons, but yeah, she becomes a very strong rogue going forward.
Speak quickly.
A letter? What does it say? Actually, hold on.
Beware.
Can I read that to you guys?
Our enemy is abound.
No, I can't. But you guys know what it had to do.
What now?
The Scarlet Crusade takes no prisoners. That they would do so with this young woman. Curious. The powers that you describe are even more curious. She passed through the bars of her prison and killed her captor? Why hadn't she done that in the first place?
Watch your back.
So now, Gordo's task has us head to one of the first major towns in this area that we can go to, which is Brill. And that's where we are able to find our first inn. Now, I believe the layout of this place has changed from the days of vanilla. There is a manor area right over here with some enemies here. This is a place where you could go to encounter some trainers. I believe they are still in there. It looks like they are. Yep, that's a clothier. Oh, hello there.
What would you ask of death?
And this is where it's like, hey, could you tell me where such and such is? He's like, all right, sure, it's over there.
Scourge have trickled into Tirisfal glades and have infested this area. I need someone to beat back the rotting dead and ravaged corpses that have taken this small farm. Scatter their bones and bring back their putrid claws. The death gods will reward you.
Well, very well then.
Speaking frankly, the Forsaken of yesteryear were a sniveling, pathetic group. We huddled together in decrepit old human buildings, hiding from the Scourge, cowering from the Alliance, and groveling at the foot of the Horde. Look before you now, and see the product of the new Forsaken. We have made our mark here on Azeroth, and that mark will grow. Our dominion will soon blanket the world. You want my advice? Speak with Magistrate Severin in Brill, down this road. He runs that town.
Our time will come.
Little power hungry there, aren't you, Dillinger? We'll help at that farm later. I want to get to Brill. My little imp. I'm right behind you, boss. But hey, once we get to 12, we'll get our Felguard. Bat Handler. We have finally made it to Brill. Down the Hearthstone.
Haven't got all day.
Okay. We have some more quests to pick up here, and we will do that when we return. Stay tuned.